Last year, at the end of March, after celebrating my mom's 60th birthday, I decided to take at least 1 year off from alcohol. It wasn't one of those impulsive decisions you make after a heavy night of drinking when you feel awful and swear you will never drink again, only to get drunk again the week later. No, I would be thinking about it for a while, and my mom's 60th birthday felt like a good turning point. I grew up in the countryside, in a region that Westerners like to call Eastern Europe, where drinking is the most popular male pastime activity. Because life was hard here. World War One, World War Two, then the fucking communists, who made sure that everything belonged to anyone, which in practice meant nobody had anything. So I completely understand the people had to drink to keep their sanity. So I can't really blame anyone in my family for it. My father's father died before I was born in his early 50s. Apparently, he had been in prison for hitting someone with a motorcycle while, of course, under the influence. But I don't know the details because it's a major family taboo. My other grandfather, my mother's father, died when I was like 2 or 3, so I don't remember him either. Both of them died from alcohol-related problems. My dad was a heavy drinker until he was 49. Then one cold November day, he collapsed in the garden, foaming out of his mouth, and he hasn't touched alcohol ever since. Actually, this year will mark 15 years of his sobriety. He wasn't a cheerful drunk, but that's another story. So we can safely say that alcohol runs in the family, right? Fortunately for me and my older brother, the time has changed. The communists are gone, at least officially, and now we live in a happy world of capitalism, where people don't drink to survive another great day, but for fun, to have a good time, right? My brother practiced that drinking for fun pretty enthusiastically until relatively recently. Then 2 years in a row, back to back, he ended up in the hospital with an intestinal inflammation and had a tube shoved up his ass. He didn't quit drinking, but he cut back pretty dramatically. I started drinking more regularly when I was about 16 years old, so actually a bit later than some of my peers. And overall, I was probably a below average drinker. I was lucky to be an introvert, so it was enough for me to go out drinking with friends only like once a week, instead of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and probably a few times during a week as well. I also had this weird trait that I hate losing control of myself. Watch my video about OCD and it will make more sense. So I only rarely drank up to the point of blacking out. As far as alcohol goes, I got through my teenage years and college years pretty well. And when I look back at my working life, I realize I was never really an intensive drinker, more of an extensive one. There were periods, months at a time, where I probably had a shot or beer every single day, with coworkers, with roommates, alone in the evening while watching a movie, or during a walk after work with this little friend in my pocket. I wouldn't drink it all at once. I would just take a sip now and then, to warm up, to get that pleasant feeling of mild numbness. But then I caught myself looking forward to that moment in the evening when I would sit down and have my one beer. And I really didn't like that feeling. I didn't like that the beer had so much power over me, that it was intruding into my present moment. I also talked to a few people who drank much more than I did on the weekends, but they claimed they never drank alone. That made me realize that my dad drank alone too. He almost never went to pubs. So maybe I really do have some genetic predisposition. In recent years, I also started tolerating alcohol worse. On the rare occasions when I drank more than my usual one beer, I felt disproportionately awful the next day. So I quit. And because life has a sense of humor, after about 9 months of sobriety, I started to have health problems instead of turning into this ripped demigod, like all those people on the internet who claim they changed their lifestyle. Like I stopped gooning and now my skin glows and I grew 2 inches taller. Or I quit social media and now I have a 6-figure business on social media. Well, not in my case. Fortunately, I hadn't expected any dramatic health transformation because I wasn't unhealthy to begin with. And I wasn't addicted, obviously. So when a friend asked me how I felt after a year without alcohol, I didn't lie to him. I didn't tell him that I feel amazing because I feel normal. I feel normal. Instead, I told him it was a great exercise in discipline. Even though I originally planned to take just a 1 year break, I still don't drink. And now it's been almost a year and 4 months. At first, I thought I would introduce a system where I could drink only during the summer, from June through August. But apparently, it's already July and I'm still sober. So maybe there's something to it after all. I would feel bad breaking the streak after keeping it going for so long. And actually, I don't miss alcohol. My brother recently turned 40, which would have been a perfect occasion for a shot. But I didn't have one. Maybe I will never drink again. Who knows? I actually have the same approach to this YouTube thing. I don't obsess over numbers, views, and all that. It's just a matter of discipline. Take care.